For 13 years, nobody knew a serial killer was living among them. The case began in 2010 when police were searching for a missing woman near Gilgo Beach, a remote stretch of coastline on Long Island, New York. What they found was far more disturbing than anyone expected. During the search, investigators discovered human remains hidden near a secluded roadway. As the search expanded, more bodies were found. It quickly became clear that this wasn't an isolated crime. Most of the victims were women who had worked as escorts and advertised their services online. Many had disappeared years earlier, leaving their families with no answers and little hope of ever finding out what had happened. Police now believed they were dealing with a serial killer who had managed to operate for years without being caught. As news spread, the case became one of America's biggest unsolved mysteries. Detectives followed countless leads, interviewed potential witnesses, and spent years trying to identify the person responsible. But despite the attention and resources devoted to the investigation, the killer remained unknown and years passed. The victims' families continued to wait for answers, while investigators revisited old evidence again and again. Some people even began to wonder if the case would ever be solved. Then technology changed everything. As forensic science improved, detectives were able to re-examine evidence using methods that weren't available when the investigation first began. Small details that once seemed insignificant suddenly became important. After years of work behind the scenes, investigators finally identified a suspect. In July 2023, police arrested a Long Island architect named Rex Heuermann. The arrest stunned the public. To his neighbors and co-workers, Heuermann appeared to live a normal life. He owned an architecture firm, lived with his family, and seemed like an ordinary member of the community. But investigators believed they had uncovered a very different side of him. According to authorities, DNA evidence, cell phone data, internet activity, and other forensic findings connected him to several of the victims. Prosecutors argued that the evidence painted a clear picture of a man who had managed to avoid detection for years. The case immediately became international news. As investigators continued digging into his past, more information emerged and additional charges followed. Each new development renewed public interest in the case and raised even more questions about how the murders had gone unsolved for so long. For the victims' families, the arrest was an emotional moment. Many had spent more than a decade waiting for answers. Some had feared they would never know who was responsible for their loved ones' deaths. Then, in 2026, the case took another dramatic turn. After years of legal proceedings, Rex Heuermann pleaded guilty to multiple murders connected to the Gilgo Beach killings. The guilty plea marked a major milestone in one of the longest and most notorious serial killer investigations in modern American history. For many families, it brought a sense of closure, but it could never erase the years of uncertainty, grief, and unanswered questions they had endured. Even today, some mysteries remain. Investigators continue examining evidence to determine whether there could be additional victims connected to the case. Others still wonder how a man accused of such horrific crimes was able to blend into society for so many years without raising suspicion. What began as a search for a missing woman uncovered a nightmare that had been hidden in plain sight. And for more than 13 years, nobody knew a serial killer was living among them.